Welcome back to the Swearwolves. I'm Bret. Today you're going to hear us talk about the 1988 film The Nest. The Nest is a subgenre of horror movies that I'm not really all that fond of. Attack of the killer insects or animals that grow large or just come in masses or whatever. We did do the movie not that long ago, Eight-Legged Freaks, which I actually really did like, starring David Arquette. It was kind of a throwback to those post-World War II kind of nuclear age movies that came out. Night of the Lepus would have been one of them. If you've ever seen that movie about the giant rabbits, really good. That's coming up in this episode of the Swearwolf. If you've seen The Nest and you like it, go ahead and comment down below. Even if you don't like it, comment down below. Tell us what your thoughts are. And if you have any suggestions for movies that you want us to review, comment down below. Be sure to like and subscribe and enjoy episode... What the fuck episode is this? Episode 241? So enjoy episode 241, One Blew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Pretty creative with that. Welcome back to the Swearwolves. I'm Bret.
I'm David.
David.
Yes, Bret.
You are here.
I am. Look at me.
I'm glad you're here. Otherwise, this would be a very one-sided conversation right now.
That's true.
People would just hear me like talk and then pause.
Mm-hmm.
And then laugh. And then respond.
Yeah, do an episode where we just have your vocal track. Like I'm there.
What if
I'm just silent?
Yeah. What if we do a two-parter and you have to listen to both parts in order to get the whole?
Yeah, first you get the dick joke set up, and then you gotta wait next week to get the punchline.
We do a two-parter where it's just my voice, and then the next part is your voice, right? And then we see whose part gets the most listens, and that's who the best Swearwolf is, and the other person has to bow down.
Everybody wins, but the audience. So basically just one of us.
How are you?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I've been battling this fucking vertigo.
Yeah, you told me about that. That's awful.
Have you ever had it?
No, but I'm a big fan of the movie.
I know you are. I kept thinking about it, and I was like, the movie's a lot better than what I'm experiencing right now.
I get vertigo.
It's been getting better.
That's good. But if you fall out of your chair at some point, I'll know why.
Yes.
And then I'll just keep talking, and then we'll have the episode that we talked about.
Yeah, exactly. I woke up, I think it was Tuesday morning, and I got up out of bed like I normally do. And then I immediately fell back into bed because I was like, this is not going to happen.
Oh, Jesus.
And my wife was in the bathroom brushing her teeth, and I finally got enough, I don't know, sense about me or whatever. And I slowly made my way to the bathroom, and I looked at her and I go, I'm not feeling good. And she looked at me, she goes, no shit. And my face was as white as a sheet.
Oh, God. Did you go to a doctor?
No, I did not. I sat down, kind of took some deep breaths, drank some water, ate some fruit snacks because I thought, well, maybe I got low blood sugar or something.
Yeah.
Color started coming back to my face. And then why go to a doctor, David, when there's always WebMD, right?
You were just giving me shit about this like a month ago or so.
Shut up, David.
With my fucking
do what I tell you,
dead
not what I
hands.
do, okay?
Which happened again the other day, FYI.
Oh, your fucking finger went white again?
Yeah, like when my hand just turns white, or a couple fingers on my right hand. It's wild.
Well,
you should go
the
to a
only reason
doctor,
why-
though. If that continues, you should definitely get that checked out.
likewise. But I did tell my wife, I said, if it gets worse, I will go.
Yeah,
But it got better.
that's good.
And I thought it was because maybe I was dehydrated, so I kept drinking water all day. I didn't drink any coffee for like 3 days, which is very odd for me. But I was never ill. I was never nauseous.
That's
I was
good.
just dizzy, lightheaded.
Yeah.
The room would spin and my eyes would go. I'd feel my eyes going in my head, just like, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
like trying to make some sense of the world. It was, like when you were younger, well, maybe this still happens now, but specifically for me when I was younger, and you would go out and you just fucking drink just to get drunk.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And you get the whole thing where the room is spinning.
The worst part about that whole experience is the room spinning and everything. That's what I felt. And I didn't even get the good part.
That
like
sucks.
the part where you're drunk.
The drinking part. My dad got in a car accident a couple months ago and had vertigo for, like a month.
Did he go to a doctor?
He did.
What'd they tell him?
I think they gave him medication like that would help, but they were like, it basically just has to go away on its own.
I guess there's a crystal in your ear.
In your ear.
And it can dislodge.
Yep.
One of my coworkers was just telling me about this today.
Yeah,
She
and I
was
think
like,
that's kind of what he had from the accident. Like it threw off
Yeah.
his equilibrium.
Yeah. So that's what I think. Either A, maybe that happened.
Yeah.
B, I have an inner ear infection that I'm not aware of that's not hurting, but it's there and it's causing my equilibrium to be off. But I've been taking medicine.
Oh, that's good.
NyQuil. NyQuil helps you with everything.
I've been taking medicine, heroin and crack cocaine. It's really helping.
Well, NyQuil does help because it helps me sleep, right? I can fall asleep then because it really sucks when the room's spinning and you're trying to fall asleep.
Yeah, that's the worst.
But it's better today.
That's good.
I'm able to stand up from a sitting position, from a laying position without feeling it. I feel like a head rush every once in a while.
Yeah, I only get that like if I haven't had enough water. I'll get the little head rush when you stand up.
Yeah, this is the thing. Drink more water, Brett.
Yes.
That's the lesson we need to learn here. And I feel like I drink a lot of water, but I also go to the bathroom like all day then.
You see, I need to drink more water. I don't drink nearly enough. Dude, you mentioned crystals a second ago, and you sparked something.
Okay.
The other day, I took my dog to the dog park, and when we were leaving, we were loading her up in the back of my wife's car, and I saw something on the ground, and I was like, oh, that's a piece of glass. And at this park, like sometimes people are careless and like broken glass, like that happens. So I was like, oh, I'm going to pick this up so some poor dog doesn't step in it. I pick it up, and it's not a piece of glass. It's what appears to be a fucking diamond. And I was like, holy shit, like I found a diamond. So I brought it home and like it sparkles and everything. It's super shiny. And I was like, what do I do with this thing? Like, do I take it to a jeweler? Do I buy one of those little glasses and examine it?
You wouldn't know what you're looking for.
So much like your WebMD, I went online and Googled like, how can you tell if a diamond is real if you're just some idiot and you don't want to go to a jeweler? Because I don't want like them to fucking laugh at me and be like, dude, this is a piece of like costume jewelry or something. Yeah. So they had all these tests and it was passing like every test. I was like, fuck, I think I might have a diamond here. That would be badass. I might be rich. And then one of them was like, take the diamond like with a pair of tweezers and then heat it underneath a flame for 30 seconds and then drop it into a cold glass of water. Oh, and one of the tests was put it in a glass of water and see if it floats. If it floats, it's not real. If it sinks to the bottom real quick, like a stone, it's a diamond. It sank. So I was like, all right. So the last one was like, all right, torch it for 30 seconds, drop it in cold water. If it's real, nothing will happen. If it's fake, it'll like explode.
Oh shit.
It exploded, Brett.
It exploded immediately.
I don't have a real diamond. So I threw that shit away. Was it cool to see it
explode?
Yeah. It was like it made like little noises and like it didn't like explode, but like it's all cracked and like its luster is gone. I cooked it.
You were already spending that money.
I was. Like, let's
see. I'm going to be going to Europe.
So. Yeah, it wasn't very big. I was like, you know what? I'm going to pierce one of my ears and turn that sucker into a little diamond stud.
And that's what I would call you from now on.
Diamond stud.
David Diamond Stud.
I'm going to pierce my nipple. Put that in there.
That's funny. That's a funny story. So the other day, I'm sitting there watching TV or whatever. And my son's sitting next to me, and he's looking on his phone, and he goes, hey, Dad, they're making a Trolls 3.
Oh, God.
And I was like, Trolls 3? I go, what the fuck? I go, why are they making Trolls 3? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, Eric Andre is going to do it. He's going to be in it. And I go, of course Eric Andre is going to do it. I go, Trolls 2 sucked. He goes, what? And I go, yeah, Trolls 2, the movie sucks.
It's like
I go,
one of the worst
it doesn't even have anything
ever.
to do with the first Trolls. I go, and it's notoriously like the worst fucking movie ever made. And he's looking at me all confused. Mm-hmm. I go, yeah, it's like one of the worst fucking movies ever made. I go, did you ever see that with Nilbog and all that kind of shit? And he goes, Nilbog? What are you talking about?
Was he talking about a totally different movie?
I was talking about Troll 2. He was talking about Trolls, the one with the fucking Justin Timberlake and Anna Kendrick, the animated movie. And he goes, I seen Trolls 2. And I go, when did you see Trolls 2? He goes, Adeline and I watched it, my daughter. He goes, we watched it. And I go, what the fuck are you guys doing watching Trolls 2?
Did a single tear roll down his cheek? He's like, Father, Trolls 2 is my favorite movie of all time.
He was just confused. And then he goes, are we talking about the same movie? And I go, yeah, that fucking horror movie. He goes, no, I'm talking about the animated movie. And I was like, Trolls 2.
Like a troll doll.
I'm a fucking idiot. I must have been out of it that night. I went off for about 5-10 minutes about
That's
how
amazing.
Troll 2 is
Because
like
even
the
when you
worst
brought it up,
movie.
when you said Trolls 2, I was like, isn't it just Troll?
Yeah.
See, if I had been there, I could have cleared all this up.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
I was too busy tending to my jewels.
Everybody.
I was too busy trying to
house,
decide which nip to pierce.
everybody in my house was thoroughly amused, but yet confused by my my rant on Troll 2.
That's wonderful.
You know what? And I don't even think I've ever seen Troll 2 in its entirety.
I owned it. Like, somebody got it for me, like, as a gag gift. But I don't think I have it anymore. I think it was part of the Great Purge when I got rid of all my physical media.
Ah, yes, the Great Purge.
The Great Purge of 2020. Or whatever the fuck that was.
Do you ever go on and look and see where people around the world are listening to our podcast from?
Yeah, sometimes.
I go on there and I see, and we have quite a few listeners that are like in other countries,
Yeah.
other parts of the world. I noticed like Singapore and India and the Philippines.
Shout out to all of them.
Shout out to them. But in somewhere in my head, I start playing scenarios and I'm like, what if these people live in like a very remote part of another, it's the other side of the planet.
Right.
And they're the only one in their fucking town, their county, whatever the equivalent is of a big area. Mm-hmm. But they're the only ones that have access to iTunes.
Fucking Apple Podcasts.
And so they record our show and then rebroadcast it as their own show over the radio
Like
waves.
a pirate radio kind of thing?
Pirate radio
that's awesome.
in Singapore. And like, we're really huge in Singapore. Like, people are like, Swearwolves. And they like gather around the radio every Monday. And they're just like, I can't wait for the new episode of the Swearwolves. And like, someday
I hear they're going to talk about poop in this one.
someday we're going to go over there and we'll get off the plane. We'll be just like on vacation. Like, I don't know why we're going to Singapore, but apparently this is where we're going on vacation. And we'll get off the plane and we'll step off and there'll be like banners and they'll be like, welcome Swearwolves. And we're like, what the fuck is this? Or there'll be like billboards,
Fucking
but it'll be two
Beatlemania.
different guys.
Yeah. And we're like, who the fuck are these guys?
It's just some like Singaporean Bret and Singaporean David.
And they're way, way handsomer than us. We're like, God damn
that
it.
goes without saying, right?
Of course.
But I think about that sometimes. Like, I have it all like played out in my head about how the Swearwolves are really big over in Singapore.
I'll tell you if it happens in London, if I get there.
It won't happen in London, although we do have listeners over in the
And I
UK.
go, oi!
Oi, you're that right fucking cunt that talks not like we do. We don't talk like that. We talk like this.
Yes, exactly like that.
You blimey bastard. That's all I wanted to talk about before we talk about this movie. Do you have anything on
I've
your
got
mind?
jack shit.
Jack and shit. Speaking of which, let's talk about The Nest.
Let's. What a segue.
This movie has been on the mythical list.
Yes,
you created
since the very early
5
days.
years ago. Have we been doing this podcast for 5 years?
We started in 2018, so we are in year 5.
Jesus Christ almighty.
It's nuts. We're so old now.
This movie has been on that list. You can't stream this really anywhere. Well, you can.
Well, yeah, you can rent it, but
You can rent it, but for free. I went to the Internet Archives,
and you found
which
it.
I like going to these days because you can find nearly everything there. You can find books there. You can find screenplays. I've been reading a lot. You can find anything. And you can find movies there.
Including
and you
this
can
one.
find The Nest there. Now, it is subtitled in Spanish, so you can also practice your Spanish as you're watching it.
I did that a couple times too. Like, I would read it and be like, yeah, that's what I would have said. And other times I'm like, oh, I just
That's
learned
how
a
I
new
would have
word.
translated it.
So that's what you call rote shit.
Yeah, don't ask me what it is now because I don't remember, but I did look at it when they said roach shit to see what they called it. The Nest. Had you ever seen this movie?
Never. But I've wanted to see it since I was a young boy. Like, I would
Really?
see this at the video store all the time, and I was like, oh man, a giant cockroach attacking a scantily clad woman. Mom, Dad, can we rent this? Absolutely not.
This is the genre of horror films that I was always like, meh, I could take or leave. I'm not really big into. I know we just did, what was that, Eight-Legged Freaks?
Oh, yeah,
was a
yeah, into the
throwback.
killer insect bugs kind of movies.
Yeah, like Them. Or what was
Yeah.
that, Slugs?
Yeah, those usually aren't really my jam either.
Frogs? We did that movie.
But like 8-year-old me, I was like, oh, I want to see it.
Yeah. 1987 and 1988 and even 89. I'll go that 3-year span. There was a lot of fucking horror movies that came out.
Yep. And then the 90s happened and there was the great lull.
Until 95. The release date, 96, I guess. The release date of this movie was May 13th, 1988. What was the number one movie in the movie theater?
I actually feel very confident today. I think I've got this one. May 13th was a Friday. So I'm going to go Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
You are correct, sir. Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood did come out on May 13th, 1988. Friday the 13th, Part 7, we reviewed that movie, right?
Yep.
What did we give that? I don't know what we gave that.
Not much.
Not much. Although it does have one of the awesomest looking Jasons.
Oh, yeah. He looks fucking awesome in that movie. All chained up and slimy.
Badass. And that's the first Kane Hodder appearance.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood was the number one movie. So that means the number one song was, of course...
I think I remember that episode because I got it wrong. So I'm not going to make that mistake twice. It was Wishing Well by Terrence Trent D'Arby.
That is correct. Ding, ding, ding.
Yay.
You have a good memory. Wishing Well by Terrence Trent D'Arby. And that's not his name anymore. His name is Sananda Maitra.
Oh, okay.
Maitreya. Listen, it's not Terrence Trent D'Arby anymore.
No.
He thought that was too hard to say, so he changed his name to Sananda Maitreya.
Left that shit in the past.
Yeah, I don't know why he changed his name. I think it probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't even read about
kudos
that.
To him.
I read about it at one point in time, and there was a reason behind it. Did you ever think about changing your name?
No.
I did.
Yeah. I got a very incognito name. I could blend in, drop off the face of the earth. Be like, good luck finding me with my generic ass name.
That's true. My name is not, and my name's pretty generic also.
But your spelling makes it somewhat unique.
Yeah. I absolutely hate the name Bret. I hate that name so much. It's the worst name ever. It's like Bret. Bret is such a douchebag.
He really is.
He is. And nobody wants to be friends with Bret.
I do.
Bret is like the guy who is like, maybe he has friends, but they're not real friends. And he's the guy who wears like penny loafers and like a sweater around his shoulders. He's like, come on, boys, let's get them.
It's like being named Trent. Like, unless you're Trent Reznor, like you're probably a douche.
Yeah. Brett Anderson is not Trent Reznor.
It is not.
So I'm going to change my name.
What's it going to be?
I don't know.
All right. You have to decide by the end of the episode. Or I'm going to just call you Philip.
Okay, that would be fine. Phil. Hey, Phil. I'm okay with my last name.
Well, I'm not so crazy about it, so I'll be changing that as well. Unless you come up with a brand new full name that I approve of.
The Nest was written by Robert King, based on the novel The Nest by Eli Cantor.
Dude, I looked that guy up, the Robert King guy. You know what else he wrote? A little opus called Cutthroat Island.
He did.
I don't know if you ever saw
that
it.
movie. Hey, you know what though? That movie, just because he wrote the script. I mean, listen, I'm not saying that this.
He didn't direct.
Actually, this guy won an award for developing the show The Good Wife.
Oh, that's cool. I just looked up his movies. I saw he did that, and I saw he also wrote Vertical Limit.
Yeah, he was just the writer of that movie. He didn't fucking.
You know, I saw Cutthroat Island not that long ago, like on TV. I never saw it when it came out in theaters because no one did. That movie was a colossal bomb. And it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be.
No, it was just the reason why it was a bomb was because they spent so fucking much money on it.
The movie's got a great score. The film score, really good.
At the time, Cutthroat Island was like the most expensive movie ever made.
Yeah, yeah.
And it made like $14.
Destroyed Rennie Harlan's career. And probably his marriage as well. So was he married to Gina Davis?
Oh, was he?
I think so.
It was directed by, The Nest was directed by Terrence H. Winkless. That's a good name. Winkless?
Yeah, why don't you wink less? Fucking Mr. Winky. All clever, winking at people. Like, yes, we get the joke. There's no need to wink.
Do you ever wink?
No, I think winking is fucking creepy as shit, man.
I love giving the old wink every once in a while.
Wait, what?
I love giving the wink every once in a while. I think it's classy.
Dude,
No,
the key is like you gotta wink when you're saying something that is not at all worthy of a wink. So then the person's like, "What the fuck? What are they talking about?"
Or wink at inappropriate times.
Yeah. So they like, are they trying
Like
to
you're
be
at a funeral
ironic, or
and you just look at somebody and you give them a
like,
wink.
are they lying to me? I'm gonna try that, or just point at like somebody random and give them a wink. Like, what?
You got to do that. You got to do this too. You got to give the little pointers, the wink and the
Yeah. Call at them like they're a horse, little pony.
little giddy up. Oh yeah, people that wink like
It's fucking
they're
weird.
creepy.
Yeah. Wink
I don't
less.
wink.
That should be
I do
everybody's.
wink. I do wink. I've winked in my life. I don't wink at people to like flirt with them or pick them up or anything. I do the wink like over exaggerated, like
Yeah. Or I'll just say it, wink, because I'm fucking lazy.
Well, we live in a text
energy.
text world these days, right? We're a society that likes to text message and email people, so we just say
Yeah,
stuff
or
like
you say
LOL.
something to them and then you go, oh, hold on, and you take out your phone, and then when their phone goes boop, wink emoji. Like, oh, David intended to
Do you
wink.
say hi? Wait, okay, you don't wink, but do you send the wink emoji?
I don't know if I don't think I've used that one.
I bet you it's the most used emoji on your phone.
No,
I bet you're lying to me.
no, that's the little turd guy.
Terrence H. It's the turd guy. Wait, they should make a turd winking.
Yeah, there you go.
Like horse shit. Wank.
Yeah, or like that's me telling you, like I text you to let you know that I'm taking a shit and I'm thinking about you, is the winky shit. Like, oh, David's defecating again.
Yeah, because winks can mean tons of things, right?
Yes.
A wink can mean I'm just joking, just joshing you. Or a wink can be, hey, baby.
Hey, what's going on? Well.
Who invented the wink? Not Terrence H. Winkless, not his family, because they were like, listen, there's enough winking, all right? Blink more, wink less. Music by Rick Conrad. Rick Conrad's a good name.
Dude, I was
Maybe
just
I'll
about to
change my
say,
name.
there's a potential name for you.
That's a strong
Write that
name.
down.
It's like, hi, my name is Rick Conrad. That's like you're going to rescue somebody. I'm Rick Conrad.
Rick Conrad's,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
it sounds like
rescue
a
you.
hero.
Yeah, that's a good one. This movie was produced by Julie Corman, so you know it's got to be good.
Yeah.
Of course, Julie Corman is married to
Roger
Corman, famous B-movie creator, director, producer. This movie stars a lot of people. Nobody that I recognized from anything. There's Jeff Winkless, who is Terrence Winkless's brother. He's in this movie.
Oh, who did he play?
Church.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know that guy. Well, I mean, I know him in this movie. I know what character that is.
Who was he? Was he the
He's
cook?
the cook.
Yeah. Otherwise, other than that, I mean,
I didn't recognize anyone either.
There's nobody. The runtime of this movie is 89 minutes. The budget, I don't have any budget or box office for this movie. Did you see anything about that?
Nope.
Hotbox.
You talked about the movie art, the box on the VHS. Looking at it, it's a scantily clad female. She's kind of doing like a back bend.
Yeah, she's very athletic.
Yeah. Like my back would break if I was like that. I would get a cramp. First of all, I'd get a cramp in my leg if I bent back that way.
Yeah. You go, oh, my vertigo.
Yeah. Now, right this second, like if I looked up at the ceiling, like I would pass out. But she's being attacked by probably, I don't know, the most gigantic cockroach I've ever seen in my life. And listen, I lived in an apartment once in LA
Like, I've seen
That
a lot
was-
of roaches.
that had a lot of cockroaches. It was like infested. It was disgusting.
Oh, it's nasty. Dude, roaches are gross. They give me the
so gross.
They give me the heebie-jeebies.
Well, you wouldn't have liked me at that time because I lived in an apartment where it was like Joe's apartment. Remember the fucking Joe's apartment?
Yeah, I remember that movie. I don't remember much about it, but I remember laughing my ass off at, like, as a teenager, the part where, like, one of the roaches goes, I think you're going to need one of these, Joe, and hands him a condom.
Well, I never saw the movie, but I remember it was a short on MTV all the time. They would do like different episodes of Joe's apartment. And so that's what I remember it from. But I never saw the movie because by the time the movie came out, I was like, man, that's all right.
Yeah, I think I saw it, like, on video or something.
That's a large fucking cockroach and it's attacking this woman.
Poor woman.
Well, it's on top of her. I mean, it's not attacking, I guess.
She looks very afraid, though. So,
She is scared. I mean, if you saw a fucking cockroach that size,
I'd shit my pants.
regardless, if it was like, hey, buddy, I want to be friends with you, it's still shit my
I'd be
pants.
texting you the winking poop emoji like immediately. Like, oh, David's getting attacked by a cockroach, I think.
Yeah,
He's
but he
pooping.
sent the winking one. That means he's not serious. It's not true. It's not happening. You're like, fuck. It says at the top of the box, roaches have never tasted flesh until now. The nest. And then below the image of the scantily clad chick getting attacked by the cockroach, it says, she's just an appetizer.
Oh, damn.
Back of the box. There's a quote from the Los Angeles Times at the top.
Were they raving about it?
This is what it says. Unquestionably does a bang-up job of scaring the pants off an audience.
Wait, say that again?
This is the quote. Unquestionably does a bang-up job of scaring the pants off an audience.
That's a fucking wink of a sentence.
It's like they took the beginning and the end of that sentence off.
Yeah, there's something else that was missing that they were like, ooh, yeah, take that out. Is there a dot?
There isn't, but there should have been. The quiet town of North Point is being overrun by cockroaches. Sheriff Tarbell, Frank Lutz, believes that genetic experiments being conducted by the Intech Corporation are the cause. Confronted with a potential disaster, Mayor Johnson, Robert Lansing, calls for help. When Dr. Hubbard, Terry Treyas, from Intech arrives, she realizes that an innocent experiment has gone terribly wrong. Ordinary roaches are turning into creatures with a taste for blood. Worse, the roaches are genetically mutating, literally becoming whatever they eat. The Nest hatches its clever plot extremely successfully. What's fascinating about the film is its balance of scientific logic and visceral terror. That's from the Los Angeles Times. Syndicated film critic Joe Bob Briggs gave The Nest 4 stars for its fast-paced blend of humor and horror, calling it the first great drive-in flick of '88. Check it out. The Nest, and then gives the credits. Approximate running time, 1 hour, 29 minutes. Color, 1987. Well, it came out in 1988, but they're close enough, I guess.
Yeah, whatever.
Joe Bob.
Joe Bob loves this movie, apparently. Okay.
Beloved Joe Bob. We got plenty of listeners who love their Joe Bob.
Let's see if they still like us after this episode.
There's this fucking island town, okay?
Yeah, Northport.
Yeah. Northport, Cape May, Cape Point. It doesn't fucking matter what the fuck this place is called. It's just a fucking fictitious island town of like 600 people. And there's this dude. I'm gonna tell you the synopsis of this basically, and then we could talk about scenes. So there's this mayor, and the mayor wants money for his town. So he says to this Intech Corporation, look, you can do your fucking wacky ass experiments on my island. Your experiments go well. You sell it to the world. I get the money. And what's the experiment? The experiment is they want to breed a cockroach that feeds on other cockroaches.
Eats other cockroaches.
And then dies immediately.
Yeah, it dies after 1 generation, so it can't reproduce.
So all cockroaches will then be gone, dead, kaput. We've gotten rid of the world.
Don't they serve some sort of purpose? Do we need cockroaches?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't need them like in my house or anything, but does like nature? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it's that whole thing of like...
Let the
circle of
scientists
life.
make that decision, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Los Angeles Times said there was scientific reasoning in this. So
Okay, I'm going to trust the Times.
They said it was a balance of scientific logic and visceral terror in this movie. So got to trust the Times.
That's a weird quote, though, because like balance, that doesn't... Was it an even balance?
It's a balance of not having any scientific logic and not being terrifying at all. Yeah. So that's his plan. Well, of course, all great plans, right?
If you saw the cover art of the box, you know, shit ain't going to work out.
Yeah, so the cockroaches start to evolve faster and more
And they
ferocious. And they reproduce. And their offspring are actually more powerful than they were. If you've ever seen that movie, what was that movie? Actually, this movie took some clips from that movie.
I noticed that. Humanoids from the Deep? Is that what it was called?
Humanoids from the Deep.
There were a couple
It's very
shots that I
similar.
recognized. I was like, hey, we've already seen
when
this
the truck
movie.
goes off of the bridge.
Yeah, the truck
But
that
that was another
explodes.
Julie Corman produced film, so I think it's the...
And when that guy's house blows up in this movie, I think that was from that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I was full Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen when it happened. I was like, hey.
basically the same plot of that, right? Because that thing keeps like hatching babies, and the babies become like more intelligent and shit like that. That's this
Except these roaches are a lot less rapey than the.
They're a lot less rapey, and they're roaches. They're like actual things that we have in real life, right? Like I know what this is. This is a cockroach, and they're like evolving, and they like eat people and kill them. They eat people. I mean, like that's how you kill them, right? So there's that story. That's the main plot of this movie, right? And then there's this scientist who's like from MIT or some shit. I think she got kicked out of MIT for doing like weird experiments.
She clarifies there. It's like, I was not kicked out. Like I want you to know that. But yeah, she was doing weird experiments or something. And legend has it she was kicked out.
She like fucking basically has an orgasm anytime she sees a cockroach.
Yeah. And when she learns like what they're doing, or she looks into her microscope, she's like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. At one point, she sticks her hand in the cage of all the cockroaches, and they start like eating her flesh. And she's like, oh. She comes in. She works for Intech. Now, we got the sheriff, okay? This fucking sheriff. This guy. Who the fuck is this guy's name?
Tarbell.
Oh, Richard Tarbell. This guy's in a love triangle of sorts.
Yes,
right?
he is.
So he has his girlfriend, which is Lillian.
Yeah, and she works at the diner that he frequents.
Yeah, and she makes him his coffee, and she's this like young blonde, cute girl or whatever, and she's in love. And then her dad is like,
Dad's the mayor. Oh, wait, no.
No, her dad's not the mayor. Her dad's the crazy guy.
Yeah.
He's like, you gonna marry my daughter? But anyway, so everything's going fine in this town, and then all of a sudden, his ex-girlfriend comes back.
Yep.
Now, his ex-girlfriend left him 4 years ago.
But she's back for her dad's birthday.
Yep, and this is Beth.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, but they call her Beth.
I don't quite understand why Richard was tasked with picking her up at the airport.
I don't understand.
They couldn't get
either.
anybody else, because that's got to be awkward for everyone involved. Like, does dad call her like, hey, your ex-boyfriend, he's going to be the guy picking you up?
Well, he's the sheriff, so maybe that's like the thing. It's like the sheriff always picks people up from the airport.
It's one of his...
By the way, it's an island, right? And they don't have like an airport per se, like a runway, so it has to have a boat plane that lands in the water.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, that was like the coolest fucking thing.
Yeah, I always thought that was fascinating too. Maybe when people aren't out committing crime, because it's kind of a small, quiet community. Maybe that's like he like freelances or moonlights as an Uber driver of sorts.
Yeah, he was the original Uber.
Yeah, I think
Lyft.
I think so. They had to cut that out for time, like the scene of them explaining that to us. But that's absolutely what happened.
Yeah, so he picks her up, and he's going to take her. Well, okay, so now he picks her up, and they have this like, oh, why'd you leave? I don't know why. I didn't know why you left. You shouldn't have left me. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, there's this young girl back at the diner who's like, what the fuck's going on with me? What am I, chopped liver now? You've been dating me for 4 years. Well, Miss Elizabeth has been gone, and now she's back, and he never fucking once looks at his girlfriend again.
Yeah, they have like a really awkward scene where he goes in to get his coffee or whatever, and she kind of gives him the stink eye. And then later she talks to Beth and is kind of like, dude, shit or get off the pot, like, or stop playing with his heart, or like figure something out. I was like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, and rightfully so, she gives him the cold shoulder because, spoiler alert, this fucker fucks Beth.
Yes, he does.
And Beth has no qualms about fucking him, so they're both shit dicks. He better break. I would have been like,
he tells her crazy dad, like, I'm really into your daughter.
Yeah,
perhaps
not that into her.
No, pretty soon he's into someone else.
And guess what? It doesn't matter because the crazy his penis is inside her vagina. Spoiler alert again, right? It doesn't matter because the crazy dad's going to die, so he's not going to know that Sheriff Tarbell was unfaithful to his daughter. And guess what? Sorry, Lillian, you're dead too.
When she died, I was like, God damn, that character got no love.
No.
Because I half expected there to be some sort of like redemption or, I don't know, or a scene of them like kind of making up, but no.
I kind of expected there to be like a scene where maybe that Homer character and that girl start dating.
Oh, yeah, the exterminator.
Just to be like, oh, he rescued me. Well, I love him now. And Sheriff, you got Beth. And we're all happy.
I'm with the independent pest control agent now, is how he refers to himself. He's not an exterminator until the end of the movie.
Yeah, we can talk about this character, Homer. He's like the comic relief. He's the pest control guy on the island, and everybody calls him because they've been noticing cockroaches are in more abundance. And then all of a sudden they start killing people. So obviously they gotta go to him.
Dude, in like one of the very first scenes of the movie, the sheriff wakes up and finds a couple roaches like in his apartment. Like one's like in his coffee and then he spits it out. Yeah. But like he doesn't really react. He's just kind of like, oh, gross. And then he goes to work. Like I remember one time as a teenager, I saw a roach in my bedroom. And my mom like came in my room like the next morning to see like my entire room destroyed. And she's like, what are you doing? I was like, there was a roach in here. So like I ransacked my entire room trying to find it because I didn't want to go to sleep with that fucker running around.
Well, not only do you want to find it, but you also want to find why is it in here? Like, is there food somewhere that I don't know? Did I hide like some fucking corn chips under my bed? And it's like,
is there a turd in here somewhere that I don't know about? What's going on?
Yeah. So that's the basics of this movie. I just spelled it out for you. So now like to go through the actual scenes. Like I do want to talk about this character of Homer real quick here.
Yeah.
Homer was actually my favorite part of this movie. I liked the actor. I thought he did really well. And I went to look up and see if he's done anything else. And he hasn't really done a lot. He's done a lot of small things, but he never went on. And I thought of all the actors in this movie, he was the best.
He was probably the most convincing because there's a lot of, it's weird. This movie had an interesting mix of overacting and not acting at all. Like very wooden acting.
And the perfect example is the mayor. So the Elizabeth's dad.
Yeah.
Okay. And the doctor from Intech. That's the perfect example of the two sides of the same coin. You got the mayor who's like, oh, I can't believe this. And he's like this fucking actor, right? And then you got the doctor.
The scientist, Dr. Hubbard, who reacts to nothing. And it's like the same expression on her face the entire movie. To the point that I think they even make a joke about it.
Unless a cockroach walks by her and then she fucking cleans her shorts. So yeah, that's what's happening. This town is getting overrun by cockroaches. They got to call the sheriff, of course. The sheriff is like, oh, we got to do something. They don't know how to kill them. The girlfriend, Elizabeth, I shouldn't say she's the girlfriend, the fucking Jezebel harlot that comes back into town. She's out jogging one morning, or I don't know if she's even jogging. She's just walking through the woods.
Exploring, walking around the woods or something.
She goes and she crosses path with this German shepherd who quickly gets eaten. Skinned alive.
Dude, that dog gets fucked up. That poor dog. And then she finds the dog and she's like, oh no. Oh. And then all of a sudden, Richard, the cop, just shows up. I didn't understand. It's like, where the hell did he come from?
And they tried to throw a scene in before that tried to explain it. Like, it was like somebody over the radio going, hey, Richard, are you on your way over to the blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, then, it was just weird. I was like, fucking Johnny on the spot here.
Yeah, he's just fucking following
her. Let me console you.
He's like, I want to get in those pants. I'm just going to follow you. And every time something bad happens.
She goes, is that a baton in your pocket? He goes, yes.
As a matter of fact, it is. My penis is over here and leans a little bit to the left. She just feels it. She's all very little. It's girth. She's exploring and she goes to this cave, these caves that her and Richard, I guess, used to frequent when they were younger.
They go frolic in the caves.
And they would wrote their names on the wall, which actually looked like somebody painted on a garbage bag, by the way. It wasn't actually a rock. It looked like a fucking crinkled up garbage bag. But she's in these caves and she sees the nest. That's the title.
She doesn't know what it is yet. She just thinks it's a giant nut sack because that's what it looks like.
She's like, hey, wait a second. That's a giant fucking nutsack. Yeah. I got to go tell someone about this.
Look at the size of that scrote. Huh.
She sees it and she screams and runs away. Then these cockroaches, this doctor is like, oh, I'm going to catch this cat and use it as bait for these cockroaches. This cat gets fucked up.
Yeah, that's got to be perfectly legal, I would imagine. Using it.
Well, listen, she got kicked out of MIT.
That's true.
Or she left MIT.
Her methods are questionable. That cat gets fucked up though too. Oh, and I think we skipped over, but the girl Lily that works at the diner, her dad is like the kind of the town crazy guy, and he lives in a tent, which I thought was strange. Lily couldn't take in her father. I don't know. Maybe that's the lifestyle he wants.
Yeah, he's crazy.
But he's out chasing a rat with a shotgun or with a rifle, He's the world's worst shot, by the way. He keeps missing by a mile. But eventually, all of a sudden, he's like, oh, because he sees one of the rats is like cut in half. He's like, oh shit, what did this? And he gets chased by a bunch of...
We get point of view shots, by the way.
Yeah, point of view from the roaches. And they're making little roach
after.
noises, because roaches make noises.
Kind of like Jaws 4.
Yeah.
The shark growls.
And they chase him. And I do like that he's like, oh shit. And he like gets in a sleeping bag. Like, that's going to work. And zips himself up.
He hides from him.
Dude, they bite his arm off.
Dude, they fuck this dude up. Yeah, they bite his arm off. It's not the last arm we'll see get ripped off.
No, but he's very dead.
He dies. That happens. This doctor's trying to do experiments on this cat, right? The cat gets fucked up. Everybody's like, well, we got to give him like this poison, right? Like we can poison them. And the doctor finds out that nope, they're immune to this poison.
Doesn't work. Well, it works initially, but the dose that it would require would be fatal to humans. So like, we can't really use this poison. Oh, and she's like, by the way, these roaches are also asexual, so they can just reproduce on their own.
And the babies are not immune. Are going to be immune to any of this.
Yep.
So we're fucked. And she's like, but I have another idea. She never explains what her other idea is. She's like, just give me some time.
That's right. Yeah. Give me 24 hours. Because she's fucking thinking about it. She doesn't have an idea. She's like, I got a day. Come up with something that's going to save this town.
Is basically what it is. She's like, there's going to be a roach in here I'm going to fuck. Did you see the size of that
6 feet tall.
This Homer guy, he goes to find the crazy and he sees that he's dead. And he sees the cockroaches and they're chasing after him and he gets away.
Yep.
Lily and the cook, this Winkless brother, they're at the diner and he's out in the garbage can, like shooting threes and stuff like that. And she's like, don't play in the garbage. So he goes in there to like jump on the garbage to shove it all in down. There. And he gets fucked up by some cockroaches.
He does.
Then we get a scene that is straight up a ripoff of Gremlins.
Oh, yes. In the diner?
In the diner. Like when Phoebe Cates in Gremlins is serving all the drinks to all
and
the
she's
gremlins.
Like lighting their cigarettes and stuff.
Yeah.
It was just like
that's
that.
basically what this scene is in the diner, but it's cockroaches.
And she's like putting them in the toaster and shoving them in the microwave.
Did you see that microwave was like held together with like duct tape?
Yeah. I'd be like, you know what? I think it's time to close for the evening.
Yeah. Why don't you
just me? I'd turn the little close sign, turn the lights off, call it a night.
I wouldn't even lock up. I'd just leave.
Yeah, fuck it.
Like, I'll get to that another scene like this, but everybody's always like, oh, what do I do? It's like, just leave where you are.
No, Lily's work ethic is impeccable.
When we find her later, like I said, she dies, but she doesn't get eaten by the roaches. She hides in the walk-in freezer and she freezes to death.
Whoopsie.
Which I don't know like how cold it is in there, but I'm pretty sure you'd survive a couple hours. Like,
I would think so.
It would be cold. But not cold. That I don't know what exposure.
She was frosty.
Maybe she wasn't really dead, and Richard's like, oh well, she's dead enough.
I half expected her to be like, oh, actually, I'm okay. I'm just very cold.
And he just shuts her in.
Give me a blanket. Give me a blanket. And she's like, no. Yeah, Richard's like, no, I'm with her now. Just closes it slowly. You go to sleep now.
You were dead for 4 minutes. I moved on.
Yep.
She's like, actually, my eyes were just closed. I don't think I was legally dead. Okay, so the scene later that I was going to talk about was Beth and her dad are at his house. Oh, by the way, it's the mayor's birthday. That was the whole reason why.
Oh, yeah, that's why she came back.
Party. And there was like this cake. It's like the cheapest fucking cake. Like you'd go down to like the supermarket and say, can you write happy birthday, mayor on it? And it was like the cheapest cake possible.
Yeah,
like,
and they spelled mayor wrong, but you don't even care. You're like, whatever. This thing was $15.
Yeah, they spelled like John Mayer.
Yeah. You're like, whatever.
Whatever.
He's not going to notice.
But anyway, they're at his house and they're talking, and this is when the mayor is explaining it to Beth, and the scientist is explaining it to the sheriff, and we get kind of like a back and forth between these shots, and they're both like filling in all the blanks of what's going on. Soon, the mayor's house starts getting overrun by these cockroaches because the power goes out, right?
Yeah.
And he goes to turn the generator on, and when he looks in the fuse box, it's like the cockroaches are like. And they're eating, and they're like, we found the power. Oh, I'll get it with you.
They'll be fucked.
So they go chasing after him, and But anyway, so instead of just leaving that house, they run around like a couple of fucking maniacs, right?
trying to kill all the roaches and like seal off the doors.
At one point, they got a fire extinguisher because the doctor's like, use a fire extinguisher to freeze them. So what do? They light a fire and then use the fire extinguisher. I'm like, you guys just fucking fucked yourself because you lit a fire and now you're putting the fire out. Like,
you didn't have to light a fire to use a fire extinguisher.
But the doctor or the mayor's like, you just go. I'll stay here. And she's like, no, I'm not going to go without you. And then he just locks himself in the bathroom with the cockroaches.
Yeah, he like sacrifices himself. That's why I took it, because they were all attacking. He's like, oh, they'll eat me, and while they're eating me, she'll be able to get away.
But why not both just run?
That's true. Maybe he really had to shit, and he was just pooping in there.
But if they both ran, and let's say they did catch him, all right, you were going to sacrifice yourself anyway. But let's say they didn't catch you. Let's say they're fucking cockroaches, and they're not that fast.
Them and squish them.
And step on them as you run. Because guess what? You could do that. So stupid. I was so fucking annoyed when he sacrificed himself. I was like, you're a fucking
I thought it was
idiot.
odd too. I was like, oh, that's weird. That's one way to handle the situation, I suppose.
So the mayor had previously set up this signal to everybody that was going to drop the poison. They were going to drop this poison.
Yeah, he called the mainland or whatever, this Intech. Was it Intech that was going to do it?
Yeah.
They were basically going to drop a bomb, essentially.
Yeah.
Which I didn't quite understand, because she said that they were immune to poison.
But I don't know if they knew that yet.
Oh,
okay. They knew that. But they were going to drop enough to kill all the cockroaches that they thought, or presumably kill the cockroaches, but only if everybody got evacuated off the island. And the mayor said, look, we're going to try to kill them ourselves. But if you arrive and the lighthouse light is not on, drop your bomb.
That means we all got out. But if it's on, that means there's still people here, and you don't do it. Which I thought was weird is like, wouldn't a lighthouse, because we're at night now, like for safety reasons, shouldn't it just be on regardless?
Listen, David.
Shouldn't it always be on at night?
Well, maybe the thought is,
of a lighthouse?
Maybe the thought is, if we leave, we're going to turn it off. We'll turn the light off before we leave.
Yeah, okay.
And if it's still on, then that means that we're still here and everything's good.
Okay.
But the cockroaches have turned the power off. Not only to the mayor's house, but to the whole island.
Yep. And they chewed through the phone lines too.
Yep. These cockroaches are smart.
And hungry.
And hungry.
Probably a little horny as well.
They are horny, and so is the doctor.
Yep.
So Homer and the sheriff and the doctor are trying to fix the lighthouse. They ultimately do fix it. And then they're like, we're going to go to the cave and we're going to set off some fucking explosives where the nest is. And Beth knows where the nest is. So let's go get Beth.
Yeah, the doctor takes off with Beth because Richard, the cop, is like, no, don't go, Beth.
Don't leave without me.
Stay here with me.
And then there's this whole stupid scene where it's like the doctor says to the sheriff, she's like, I'll go with Beth because she knows where the nest is. And he's like, no, I'll go. And then she takes off without him. And then Homer turns to the sheriff and he's like, women. Am I right? Like he has like this like fucking joke. And then it goes to the doctor in the car and she goes, men. It's like, what do you're being attacked by fucking cockroaches and you got time to be pissing and moaning about the opposite gender? Like, shut the fuck up. Well, and the reason why Homer and the sheriff are still together is because now the lighthouse has gone out.
Yeah, they got to turn it back on.
So they go over to fix that. The sheriff just drops Homer off. He's like, fix it. I'm going to go.
Yeah, I got to go rescue Beth.
Yeah, because I'm the man. I don't know if you guys realize this, but only a man can rescue a woman. True. Right?
Yep.
A woman can't rescue herself. This fucking sexist movie.
They need me.
And Beth was doing just a bang up job of fucking finding the nest. And she's like, we'll blow it up. Everything will be fine. But the doctor's got to go get her fucking jollies off. And the doctor walks in and there's like this fucking nest. And it's like something it's like Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah, it's like the cotton candy. Yeah, it did look like that. But more.
Except for it's not cotton candy. It's slimy fucking boogers.
Yeah, and a little bit more scrotum-like.
Yeah, scrotum-like.
Oh, we should also say, too, it also was established earlier that as these roaches eat different things, they essentially like can kind of become it, which I found very strange.
All right, let's talk about this for a second. It was established But it was so shoehorned in.
Yeah, and very late in the game.
Very late. It was like there was 20 minutes left in the movie and they're like, oh shit, that cat is now a cat cockroach.
Yep.
So the cat who got fucked up earlier, all of a sudden they find it and it's a cat cockroach. And she's like, oh, they can become what they eat. And I'm like, well, when the fuck did this start happening? Because why aren't we seeing that fucking crazy guy?
Yeah. Why isn't he a roach? Or like roaches eat anything. Why haven't I seen a cheeseburger roach?
Yeah, exactly.
Or a condom roach.
They were at the diner.
Yeah.
They were at the diner. I will say this too, that I forgot about. So we find the cat thing and then the mayor comes back and the mayor's like hugging his daughter and then he busts out. It's like Jeff Goldblum in The Fly.
Yeah. I actually thought that effect was pretty badass.
I did too. Because his like foot rips out from his
he rips out of his own skin.
And then his eyeball pops out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome.
That was pretty cool.
The cat roach was kind of cool looking in a very cheesy way. It kind of reminded me of the split dog from Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
But they dispose of it pretty quickly. Like they just knock a cabinet over on it and squish it, which, you know,
yeah, and like
that's
green
effective.
pus comes out of it.
Yeah.
And she ends up shooting her own dad's head off.
Oh, yeah. She blows his head off.
Kind of like shotgun. Jeff Goldblum in The Fly, right?
Yes. It's true.
And, you know, this movie was just on the heels of The Fly, so that's what they were capitalizing on. Anyway, so now she's about ready to blow this up. The doctor goes and finds the scrotums hanging from the stalactites. Scrotum stalactites hanging from the nest ceiling. And all of a sudden, well, where are all these like amalgams of the people and cockroaches? They're here. This fucking beast comes out and it's got like 6 faces.
Yeah,
and it's like queen. This giant human fucking cockroach bug looking
it's pretty cool looking
thing. And it comes out and it's like attacking her and it rips her fucking arm off.
Yeah. And she does nothing. Like she's just like does the classic no. Like run dummy.
Wait, why would
it rips her arm off and then it bites her head in half with its like little mandibles. Like it like crushes her head and the top
bites
of
it in half horizontally.
Yes.
Not in half vertically, horizontally. It's like it takes the pop top off.
Yes. It was pretty cool. That was a satisfying death because she was awful.
She was a stupid bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But now the sheriff has gotten there and he reaches through a hole and grabs Beth and they get out with like 1 second to spare. The bomb goes off, blows everything up.
Yep.
Homer gets the lighthouse turned on.
And proclaims himself an exterminator.
Yep. He's now an exterminator. Beth and Richard, the sheriff, they hug and embrace as the sun comes up over Port fucking Pleasant. What's it called? Port Washington?
Northport.
As the sun comes up over Northport and we see there's a little tiny cockroach crawling across his boot as they embrace.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because like they're all happy. Like, hey, we did it. Like, not really. There's still a shit ton of roaches running around.
Yeah. We still got to
You killed the queens. That's good.
Yeah.
You still got a problem.
They said there was something called like a hive mind or something like that like if you kill the queen, they'll all eventually die.
Okay.
They did establish that, I guess. They like shoehorned a lot of fucking bullshit into there. So that's The Nest. Now, I have never seen this movie and I never want to see this movie again. This movie took me 2 days to watch, by the way.
Oh, God.
Because I started watching it and I was so fucking bored that I was like, if I continue to watch this, I am not going to pay attention. I'm going to start playing fucking games on my phone. I was that bored. It doesn't help that I haven't been feeling well. So like just focusing on something for a long period of time, that probably doesn't help. But this movie was too long.
It wasn't even an hour and a half. It was an hour and 29 minutes.
It was too long.
Still though.
It was too boring. It took a long time to get to the point here, David. That's
true. They could have picked up the pace.
And unlike Joe Bob Briggs, the Los Angeles Times, I should say, unlike Joe Bob Briggs, I think this movie fucking sucked. But unlike the Los Angeles Times, I found this movie to be very stupid. There was no scientific facts in this movie. And if there was, who gives a fuck? I don't care about scientific facts. I don't care if there's a real thing called a hive mind. I want something entertaining, not something that's like, well, I guess technically they're right about that. No, who gives a shit?
So, like, if I was going to pick a list of adjectives to describe this movie, smart would not be on said list.
No, stupid would be.
Yeah.
The reason I'm giving it what I'm giving it because I'm not giving it a 0. But the reason I'm giving it what I'm giving it is because I like the Homer character, and I liked the Elias, the mayor's transformation when his eyeballs popped out. Other than that, there was nothing redeemable about this movie. I didn't like any of the characters. All the characters were, even the hero character, I fucking hated him because he cheated on his girlfriend.
Yeah, he was a douche.
It gets half a Pamela Voorhees head. Brett Bob Anderson says, don't see it. I'm changing my name to Brett Bob.
I thought it was going to be Rick Conrad.
Rick Conrad says, don't see it.
Brett, this may surprise you. I actually kind of dug this movie.
You fucking douche. What is wrong with you? Is a cockroach eating your brain?
I thought the visual effects, like as cheesy as they were a lot of fun. Like the dude getting his arm ripped off and the scientist getting her head bitten in half and her arm ripped off and the dog getting mangled, the transformation. I thought all of that was really, really cool. But I also agree with what you said about like the pacing. There's definitely issues in the first half of the movie. It takes a long time to get going. And I agree about the characters. There really isn't anybody aside from maybe Homer to really root for. Like everybody's kind of boring. And the plot, it's something that's been done to death. But I was entertained. I thought this movie, and I'll be honest, I picked this movie because I thought it was going to be terrible. And sometimes those are fun to talk about. But I was pleasantly surprised that when it was over, I was like, I kind of liked it.
Why the fuck was this rated R?
Oh, dude, and that's funny. That's something I was going to bring up. Like, I think young me would have been pissed because, like, if you see that box, you're like, oh, this is going to have lots of nudity and stuff like that. And, like, there's nothing. I don't even think there was, like, maybe one or two, like, shits. But, like, there wasn't even, like, bad language, really. I think it was rated R solely for the violence and the gore.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but if you're somebody who wants to see all the like nudity and stuff, like this is not the movie. So yeah, the box is pretty misleading. And there, other than the very end, there really isn't like a 6-foot roach, and when there is, it doesn't really look like an actual cockroach.
No.
As far as rating, I'm kind of between like a 2 and a 2.5.
You are fucking insane. If you give this movie a 2.5, I'm quitting.
No, I'm going to give it a 2 because I don't quite recommend it. Like, I recommend it if you want to see the visual effects, but like if you want to see a good story and good acting and all of that, look elsewhere.
Look elsewhere.
But still a lot more enjoyable than I was expected. So I'm going to go 2.
Ugh. God, I should have given it a fucking 0, but I can't.
No, there was some redeeming qualities.
Barely. 1.25 overall. And that's because David, for some reason, has lost his fucking ever-loving mind. I don't know what happened between...
Maybe I was just in a super good mood yesterday.
Baby, but you are fucking crazy if you think this movie is possibly a 2.5. In your head, you were thinking, maybe this is 2.5. You know the movies I've given 2.5 to? I've given 2.5 to like good movies.
Well, see, I've given 2.5, I think, to the last couple movies we've talked about.
You didn't give 2.5 to Student Bodies.
Let me look. Yeah, I did. You gave it 3. I gave it 2.5.
This movie, Student
and I gave
Bodies,
Dolls 2.5.
Dolls is,
and that's kind of what I based my 2 on. I was like, was it better than those 2 movies? No, I'd probably watch those before I would watch this again.
I will never watch this movie again. If you want to fucking torture me, you will say, hey, come over to my house.
Lucky for you, it's hard to find. It's not just going to be popping up on streaming service recommendations. Unless Joe Bob's like, Joe Bob's a 4-star movie. We got to bring this back.
Oh, God. Yeah. So all you Joe Bob fans out there, it's fine. You can like Joe Bob. But guess what? Not all the movies that he likes are good.
Yeah.
And not all the movies you like are good. Not all the movies that I like are good. It's all subjective.
Yeah. That's a good point, Rick.
If you have any suggestions or if you have any thoughts on The Nest, if you've seen this movie and you're like, David is absolutely 100% correct. In fact, he didn't rate it high enough. I got to tell Brett why I'm correct in saying that this is the greatest movie ever made. Or if you're like me and you fucking hate this movie.
Yeah, and you want to yell at me, tell me I should change my name. Brought great shame to the name David.
You can contact us. How can they contact us, David?
On Twitter, Facebook, The Slash Rap, TikTok, Hive, YouTube, search The Swearwolves. On Instagram, search The Swearwolves Podcast. You can go to our website, theswearwolves.com. You can email us at contact@theswearwolves.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 623-282-1851.
So for the Swearwolves this week, I'm Rick Conrad.
And I'm still David for now. Recording now.
I'm recording 2.
Oh, look at that. Look at us.
Hopefully I'm not peeking. Peeking duck.
Peking duck.
I'm a peeking duck.
It's a fucking duck peeking behind a bush. It's fucking watching you undress. Fucking peking duck.
With his duck bill out. Duck bill
And his fucking corkscrew dick.
Ducks have corkscrew dicks?
Yeah, they got crazy dicks.
When they shove it in, do they have to turn it? Do they have to spin their whole body around to get it in?
I think so, yeah. And I think it's something like ducks are like the rapiest animals on earth, apparently. And
I
think
thought
like
dolphins.
Like a duck vagina like is all like twisted. That's why their dick is all curly. 'Cause you got to get in there.
Dude, that's why Donald's so pissed off all the time. Because he's got a corkscrew dick.
Yeah, he's got a crazy corkscrew dick.
Daisy's got a fucking maze of a vagina.
Yeah, and he can't seem to crack it like a Rubik's Cube.
It's fucking Theseus trying to find the Minotaur in Greek mythology. It's fucking David Bowie comes out playing with balls. He's like, to this labyrinth, motherfucker.
Donald Duck's so horny walking around with his pants off all day.
His corkscrew.
With his corkscrew dick.